Welcome to Paul's Passive House. So, getting to an update. Oh, the HVAC has all been brought into this space. So we've got that as the exhaust, that is the intake, and we brought up both HRV units. So we cut a hole in there, and there's two pipes in there. It's hard to see right now, but and then we've got these big pipes here. Big pipe, and we've got that electricity there too. That bad boy. That's where our electricity comes in. There. Got this bad boy here. We got this bad boy here. And we got these guys here. And you can't see the one pipe, the exhaust pipe, but it's back there underneath that piece of pink fiberglass. I'm gonna grab it and pull it through in a little bit. But we got rid of all of this on top of the bathroom. And when we come down here, moving through the space, you can see the floors are done, walls are down, and we're making our way. So here's the bathroom in this main area. This is in shambles right now, but we've got a new outlet. So instead of running through conduit, I ran, this is gonna be 35 amps, that's an 8 gauge. And then we're gonna hook up to 15 amp, 20 amp, and we'll have 3 circuits in this area. So I'm dry fitting what I think is going to be the air barrier. So if you look here, this right here is the zip system. You can see it right here too. Zip system, right? There's the zip sheathing. So that's my air barrier. This is just 1/2 inch foam, and I'm gonna be connecting it right. There's the zip system. I'm going to be connecting this 1/2 inch to the zip system with probably some liquid flashing all along that bead right there. And then I'm going to secure this. I'm going to secure this to the underside of the decking, and then that's what I'm going to connect my smart membrane to. Now the zip system is sealed at the baseboards. So there my airtight barrier comes up, it connects to this, and then it's going to go across all the way to the other side. And I'm going to connect it to that zip system there as well. Now I actually want, because it's ventilated in here, I actually want air to move through this space. And I want it to go up to where the roof vent is, up there. And so I'm gonna leave my smart membrane a little bit wavy right here. It's gonna be a little bit loose. I'm probably gonna connect it to this, and then maybe one connection here, and one connection here, before I move it over, and it's going to be a little bit billowy. And I'll fill in all the extra space. I'm going to fill in all of these joists with fiberglass insulation, and they're going to be bats. I could do blow-in, but I think I'm going to do bats. So in order to do this, I just cut out the notch here. I marked it, cut it out, set it in place. Now, it's not perfect, it's just a dry fit. I have to remove this header here so that it actually fits in there perfectly. But that's going to be my strategy for making this into a hybrid attic. That's where my air barrier is going to be. It's going to go up under the roof decking, along the roof decking to the very top, and then down the other side. I'm also going to be putting in foil. So there's going to be foil reflective barrier here too. And before I install that foil, I want to know exactly how this is going to fit. So I'm going to measure for that and start installing. You know, contractors say the darndest things. I've actually had attic insulation contractors ask me, well, why are you installing foil? In our climate, it's not really necessary. And to that, I always have to say, if you will excuse me, please, I'd like you now to leave. Any contractor that questions why you would use foil in your attic doesn't understand the basics of a passive house retrofit or design. Foil is key in the summertime for providing shade. If you understand how houses work and you want to make things minimally intrusive on you and cost the least amount of money possible to maintain, you're probably not going to have very many trees on your lot. Trees cost money. They drop leaves, they cause irrigation problems and drainage problems, they clog up your gutters. This can cause ice damming in the winter, it can cause flooding, but you still need shade, and foil provides you with that shade. Now, one of the key factors when installing foil is understanding that even though a perforated piece of foil will allow for quite a bit of airflow, you still need to make sure that you get plenty of airflow underneath your roof deck, especially in a hybrid attic system like the one I'm installing, where I've got tons of insulation as a thermal barrier, but I've also got a ventilated roof deck. In these types of applications, utilizing foil as part of your roof deck ventilation system is tantamount to success. In the summertime, you're going to lower the amount of heat that your attic collects by 20 or perhaps more degrees. In the winter time, you're also going to trap quite a bit of the heat that would like to be escaping from the interior to the exterior. Now, when you couple that with insulation, there's a couple of things you're going to want to keep in mind. First off, in the summertime, the cold edge is going to be the ceiling. It's going to be the back of the drywall that you look at when you sit in your room and look at the ceiling. That's the cold edge in the summertime. Now, as long as there's ample amount of insulation, a thermal break between the outside temperature and the inside temperature, you should be fine as far as condensation. You shouldn't see any condensation behind that drywall in your ceiling as long as you have a whole bunch of insulation. Now, conversely, in the wintertime, the cold edge is going to be the bottom of the roof itself and potentially the radiant barrier. Now, the reason why hybridized attic systems work so well is because in the wintertime, when moisture collects on the bottom side of your roof deck, there's plenty of air to move into that space and dry it out. Any moisture that collects on your radiant barrier is also going to dry out because your radiant barrier is in that same cavity. Now, this is why hybrid systems work so well, and this is why I don't particularly like using spray foam to fully insulate and make airtight your attic. What a lot of people don't realize is that if you spray foam to the underside of your roof deck, you may be invalidating your shingles warranty. Most shingles require a ventilated attic space in order to properly air out and dry out. Not all shingles, but most. And so if you spray a spray foam to the bottom of your roof deck, you're going to be invalidating your warranty. You don't want to do that, especially if you live in a place where there's lots of hail. Now, I took a great deal of time and energy ensuring that this hybridized attic system would work. And if you've been paying attention, if you've been following along, then you know that over the main footprint of my house, I did almost this exact same process. There's some differences, but up until right now, it's all been the same. There's a hybridized roof system. There's radiant barrier foil. And so far, that's been working out wonderfully. My subscribers will know that this is my addition. We're currently in the addition of my house. And I also have a main footprint of my house. And there have been some major differences between how I've tackled working in my addition versus the work in my main footprint. And one of the biggest changes has been that I dropped the ceilings in this addition. If you look back a few episodes, you'll see that I dropped all the ceilings and all of the old insulation from this roof space, this attic space. And let me just say, for those of you that are following along, that working in this space, working in this attic and working in this roof are much, much easier after I've dropped the ceilings. Crawling around in the attic was miserable. I could only be up there for a couple hours at a time. And while I sometimes complain that I had to work over my head for quite a lot of this, it was still much, much easier and much, much better for me to do this work with the ceilings dropped. And I just wanted to highlight those differences for you. Not only is it easier to film, because as you can see, you get quite a nice view of everything that I'm doing, but it's also much, much easier to actually perform this work with all of this space available to me, and with the option of sitting down and peering up at the ceiling when I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm supposed to be doing next, as opposed to lying down in an attic and craning my neck, getting kinks in my back and shoulders, trying to figure out what's supposed to be happening next. Now, we're going to talk more about the advantages of dropping ceilings and working from the outside, doing exterior work as opposed to interior work in future episodes. But note for now that the main differences between the retrofitting I did in the main footprint of the house and the addition are: in the main footprint, I did all of the retrofitting from the inside. In the addition, I'm doing all the retrofitting from the outside. All of the work that I did in the addition was much, much easier and faster and more cost effective than the work I did in the main footprint. And it's because I chose to do it from the outside and I chose to drop the ceilings. Now, if you have a choice, you should always work from the outside. And if you have the choice, you shouldn't drop the ceilings, you should take off the roof itself. Working from the outside is always better, no matter what. Now, I didn't have that option with this roof because I just replaced these shingles just a few years ago. So I had to do this roof from the interior. But always, 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 if you have the option, you should retrofit from the outside. If you'd like a free energy efficiency consultation, please email me at paulspassivehouse@gmail.com.